just hit top bins. 1-2 touch, yeah, we're locked in. I got the skills to make the girls sing, and the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.
Hello and welcome to episode 21 of One Game at a Time. I'm Seb O'Neill, joined as always, well, mostly always, by my three very special guests, starting off with Alessio Carocci. Alessio, how are you this evening?
Good, thanks, Seb. Nice and chilly again. Another Wednesday night in the study, but it's good to be here again.
Absolutely. And also Mark Talbot. Mark, how are you this week?
Oh, I'm very well, and I'm with Alessio, a little bit cold, but we're all good.
And finally, as always, David Grant. David, how are you doing?
Very well, thanks. Had a little bit of technical difficulty to start with, but I'm all set now, and I've got my my royal flag up because my wife's home. So whenever she's home, we put up the royal flag. And that's the Royal Banner of Scotland there for all of you who don't know what it is, but it means my wife's home.
Well, as always, we'll start with our picks of the weeks. Who should we start with? Let's start with Mark. Let's go to you.
All right, I'm going to keep this one short, sweet. We had obviously a lot of games postponed over the weekend due to the bad weather. So effectively, we lost 3 games in the State League 1. We lost 3 games in State League 2. Multiple games across 18s and reserves postponed because of the weather. Mainly, obviously, a lot of rain. So it brings into question the whole artificial and grass pitches. We've got to bring that whole debate back into play, because obviously the only games that really played on the weekend were those that were on artificial. There were a couple that did go ahead on grass, but not too many. So it does raise that whole debate over what we should be doing here in Adelaide with artificial or grass pitches. We could probably talk about that for quite a while, but I won't, obviously. I prefer grass, but and I think, we should play on, even if they're a little bit muddy, we should still be playing.
Well, I guess we'll just quickly continue on, because David, obviously on Saturday, we both had a game each. Mine was artificial, yours was on grass. Mine ran quite smoothly. Yours looked like it could have been postponed, but it wasn't in the end at Croatia Raiders.
That's correct, yeah. The Croatia Raiders ground staff were excellent, got out there and they were sweeping very early on and had cleared any excess water that was on the pitch. But we were also at Para Hills Knights, on a grass pitch at Para Hills Knights on Friday night, and that game went ahead as well. And I'm a bit old-fashioned. I like my grass, and I like a little mud patch here or there as well. I mean, the Goalmouth areas at Para Hills Knights were a bit muddy, but I like that. I don't mind that. It doesn't have to always look so spick and span. And listen, if you cancelled the games every time there was bad weather or heavy water or snow or whatever, you'd be playing football in Scotland for about 3 days between June the 1st and June the 4th or thereabouts. So
you're exactly right there, David, on that weather front, that's for sure, because you wouldn't be playing at all. So I'm like you. I prefer the grass. The grass pitches, I think they're way better. And a little bit of mud's not an issue, but that's the thing. We don't have the staff to maintain grass pitches like they do in the Premier League and things like that when we play them. Otherwise, we might as well just go to a summer league like we do with the A-League.
David, we'll continue on with you. Of course, this weekend is the big Men's Federation Cup final, and you went back in time to dig up some history.
I did. I went looking through the records to find out the last time these two teams had met, or if they'd met. And lo and behold, I couldn't find any previous meeting between the two, and certainly not in a final. But I did go back to the 1994 Federation Cup final when Campbelltown City played Salisbury United, and Campbelltown City won that 3-0. And I met with Mario Boffa today for a little recorded chat, which might feature on a television station near you in the next few days. And he was great, give us a little bit of time and a little bit of insight into the game and how it had gone. Campbelltown City were actually a promoted team that year. They'd just come up from the second tier at the end of 1993, and 1994 was their first year back in the top tier at that point. And they got to the cup final where they had that success over Salisbury United, of course. They had previously won the Federation Cup final in 1985, so it'd been a few years for them between them and 94 when they won it. They also made the grand final that year, but lost on penalties 7-6 to Blue Eagles, and Blue Eagles were a bit of a rival for them in that year. And Campbelltown also beat Blue Eagles in the semi-finals of the Cup on their way to winning it at Hindmarsh Stadium against Salisbury United. So that was 94, Campbelltown City. And then I also stepped back a further 5 years to 1989, which was the first year that Modbury, they were just called Modbury at the time, but Modbury Jets now, had been in a Federation Cup final. They played Parahills Knights and won 2-0. And it's interesting because I was going through the teams from that final, and in the Modbury Jets team, there was a fella named Terry Kent, who's very familiar to me. I played with Terry, but I had no idea that he'd played in that game. So I contacted him. He lives in Tasmania now, and we catch up every so often when he's back for Legends games and reunion matches up here in the hills. And he and his brother Brian Kent had both played in that game, and Modbury had won that 2-0, 2 penalties, and they were both, as they told me, the result of fouls by the goalkeeper Martin Crook on players, Modbury Jets players in the box, obviously. And Martin Crook, obviously, I'm sure you're aware, passed away prematurely in 2008, very suddenly and very sad sort of thing. But I caught up with Ian Cole, who'd also played in that game today. So he was my contact for that game, and asked him a few questions about his memories of the match and so on. So I had a good little chat with him as well. So that was a Modbury Jets win over Parahills Knights. Just one more thing before I pass you on to Alessio, and that is that in the little historical piece that I was reading, Modbury Jets had organised 3 or 4 buses of supporters to come down from their ground to Hindmarsh Stadium that afternoon. And one of the buses, here's a sign of the times, one of the buses was a designated smokers bus. So you can't smoke in buses now, but all the smokers are packed into one bus and on their trip down, and 3 of the buses were obviously not used for that. Actually, another quite interesting thing I found, sorry I'll be really quick, was that around the time of the 94 final, Rothmans, who were a cigarette company, I don't know if they're still around, were the major sponsors of the local competition, but the NSL was sponsored by the Quit campaign. So in one case you were going to the local game and being encouraged to grab yourself a pack of 20 darts, and then you might have gone to an NSL game and felt guilty about smoking those 20 darts. So there you go, there's a contradiction for you.
Alessio, we'll move on to you for the next pick, going on to national team news.
Yeah, it was a big surprise in the under-20 Matildas youth team squad this afternoon. I think it was midday that it came up. It's the young Tanae Morris making the team, the only NPL player in the squad. The rest of them are from either the A-League Women's or the other one plays for Tottenham Hotspur. So yeah, it's a big surprise. Obviously, there was an invitational in SA not long ago where they invited everyone for this age group requirement and played an internal game. And obviously she impressed enough to get a spot in the training squad and in this one subsequently. But yeah, it's just a massive achievement. I don't know the last time a designated NPL player has made one of our national teams, especially whether she's not been prior in an A-League women's team. Obviously, she played through the NTC system, but at Adelaide University women's team now in the WNPL. And yeah, it's just a big opportunity for her, and I'm sure she's going to take it with both hands.
Absolutely, that's very exciting. Those two games being played over in New Zealand, one behind closed doors. I think the other will be broadcasting. It's in about a week or so's time, so looking forward to those ones. I'll go next for the last one. We had WNPL on Friday night. Adelaide City played against Salisbury Inter at City Park, and in goal for Salisbury Inter was none other than Chantel Ryder. Had to go on goal due to Matilda Comley currently being out with injury, and their backup keeper, Chloe Shaw, actually had formal that night, so wasn't able to play the match. So, of course, one of their stalwarts at the back, Chantel Ryder, had to go into goal. Kept a clean sheet, Mark. It can't be that hard.
I keep saying it, mate. I did it. It's not that hard. Hats off to her, mate. It's not that hard, mate.
Absolutely. But yes,
great to see. Great effort, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll move on to the results from the past week, starting with State League 2. Only 3 games played in SL2. Seaford 3-1 over Port Adelaide. Mount Barker 4-2 at home against Mulberry Vista, and Uni drawing 1-1 in that Cove Gawler, Hills Hawks versus Pontian, and Noarlunga Eastern game all having been postponed. So only the 3 games played in State League 2 this weekend. I guess we might as well start with Mount Barker United. We won't berate you for it, Alessio, but we'll let you explain your side of the things.
Yeah, well, it was a good form start that we had all expected. And I think, obviously, I had us predicted, I think, 2-1 win on our prediction thing. But, yeah, it just started the way we wanted. Another header from Alex Matanomsky. I think it's been 3-3. But shortly after, he had come off with a groin injury. So that was into the first half. And he was a massive miss for us. I don't know if any of you have played with him or seen him play, but he's about 6'5" and wins every header like a magnet. So it's unfortunate to lose somebody like him, especially with the players that Mulberry Vista can have in their team with Coyne and Trotter and a couple of those big boys they have. But we got a second goal with Daniel Searle, which was another one who's been in fine form, 3 in about 3 or 4 games maybe as well. And yeah, 2-0 up at half time. It seemed like things were going well, and Mulberry Vista had a fairly depleted team as well. They were playing Coyne at the back in the first half, in fact, to show how depleted they were. But they made a change in the second half and put him into the midfield, shuffled a few of the defenders around, and they just really started on the front foot from that second half onwards. Their wingers were rapid on each side, and they just kept putting crosses in. And eventually it paid off with our defence not being able to cope with it. And I think it was a header from a corner, an own goal header, and then a header from Coyne. That all happened within I think it was 5 or 10 minutes. And yeah, it just changed the tide from there. We put the rest of our subs on to see if anything can happen. There's a few late chances in the game, but just wasn't to be for us. And got another 2 weeks to try and fix what's going on, and hopefully get a few players back from injury as well, which we had, and some COVID cases as well. So all's not lost. I mean, we're still 3 points off our top points tally of last season. Still got 5 games to go. And you know what they say, like those last few teams who've got nothing to play for, they're the hardest teams to play before you play the final series. So hopefully maybe we can ruin a couple of people's runs to the last final series rounds now.
Time to face the press, Alessio. David and Mark, any questions towards the Mount Barker player?
No, I don't have any. I'll let him slide. It's not easy coming up against a Mulberry Vista side, that's for sure. So, especially in their current league form, I mean, they're sitting, I think it's 4th now for a reason. So, yeah, it's I'm not going to put him through the ringer, that's for sure.
No, me too. I think 2-0 up and probably felt quite comfortable, and then to sort of concede late on like that. We give you a bit of a hard time sometimes, but we've played the game before. We know how much it can hurt. So I'll lay off this week, I think. No, seriously.
Only 2 more games to talk about. Who wants to take what? Mark, which one do you want to take there? Which one do you want to take?
I'll take the Talbot Derby, if you like.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
So Seaford and Port played down at Seaford's home ground, hence why the game went ahead, being on the artificial. from all accounts, Seaford probably deserved win. They took a 1-0 lead into half time. Port could have actually taken the lead quite early, but surprisingly, Kaka missed an opportunity in about 5-10 minutes in. And by the sound of it, Port never really recovered from that. Seaford went, like I said, 1-0 up at half time. They did it. Port equalised early in the second half, but 56, Tom Sills then scored a bit of a goalmouth scramble in the 58th. So Port weren't level for very long. And then obviously 3-1 finished up with Rapano. Apologies, Sebastian, for getting that wrong. But he scored in the 93rd minute. Bit of a Port obviously pressing late in the game and leaving some holes at the back. So Seaford making that count. And they've done that. A few players have left Seaford in the last couple of weeks as well with the trade. So it's good news for Seaford to get a win like that. I think it sort of fits in line with Port's season so far, is you just never know what Port's going to turn up. They seem to be very inconsistent this season. So they could beat the top team, but then they could effectively lose to the bottom team. So Port sort of need to find a bit of consistency. But overall, it does close the gap between 8th and 7th, really, for Seaford, who now have only gone 1 point behind Port.
David, on to you for the final one. Adelaide Uni only drawing with Northern Demons.
Yeah, 2 first-half goals. Andrew Orfanu for Adelaide Uni and Suleiman Rama for Northern Demons. I'm sure Adelaide Uni will be the team that's probably hurting the more out of that result. They would feel like it's dropped points. They've retained top spot, but they've retained top spot because Pontian didn't play really. I'm sure if Pontian's game against the Hawks had gone ahead, they would have collected the 3 points and be sitting top. But Uni have got Gawler next, so they'll be hoping to get something out of that. But game in hand. I think Uni have got a 1 point lead at the top, but Pontian have a game in hand. And Cove, actually, by the looks of it, have got 2 games in hand, although they're a little bit further off the pace. They're down in third, but they're about 10 points adrift of second and first. So not much more to add than that.
Looking at the table, Adelaide University, as you said, just in front by 1 point, but Pontian with that game in hand. And then that gap behind is Cove about, got to do quick maths here. What's that?
7.
6, 7, yep. Got you. Yep.
Don't worry, I got it.
And then going, I know. Towards the bottom, Gawler Eagles sitting last with 6 points. Hills Hawks with 9 points. Mount Barker with 16, and Eastern United in front of them with 19 points. But they also have 2 games in hand to try and extend their lead in that, I guess, bottom battle. Next up, on to the WSL. Cove losing 2-1 to Western Strikers. South Adelaide 2-1 to Adelaide Jaguars. Elizabeth Grove 4-1 to Modbury Vista. Fulham 7-0 versus Modbury Jets. And Croydon 1, Campbelltown 26. All the away teams winning. Who wants to talk about what?
Well, Croydon scored, didn't they? Yep. So that was great, and they scored against Campbelltown as well, who are sitting top. So in
the 6th minute as well. So in the game, it was actually 2-1 for a period of time as well.
Yeah. So I mean, that was fantastic to see. I noted that down this week, and look, I was really pleased to see them get a goal. I think it's their first of the year. I haven't got the table in front of me. I think maybe their first of the year.
Second
of the year. But
they scored one against Modbury Vista.
Oh, did they? Well, second of the year still, to get a goal against the side that's been doing so well this year is certainly positive. So I was chuffed to bits for them. The other one I'd noted down was Modbury Vista on 30 points after beating Grove 4-1. So again, I haven't got the table in front of me. Sorry, I'm not very well rehearsed tonight. But that was
there you go, David.
Look at you go! It's almost like we're professionals. Not that I can make that out, but a good result. I think. A good result, I think, for Modbury Vista. Anastasia Nuttall, Daniel Harmer, Ella Smith, and Emma Hubbard were the 4 goal scorers in that game, and that puts a little bit of a buffer between them and Elizabeth Grove. That was, a bit of a 6 pointer. That wasn't it, second versus third. But I've kind of cherry picked the two. I think I've cherry picked the two most notable results from there, which maybe leaves Alessio and Mark in the lurch a little bit, and I apologise for that.
It's all good.
We'll
I was
go
gonna
to.
pick
I was gonna say we'll go to Mark for down south. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a huge win for the South over the Jaguars. There's about 4 spots in the ladder between the two of them going into this round. South's in 7th, Jaguars in 4th. So, but not only that, it was almost a 10-point. It was a 10-point gap. But with that win for South, who break their probably 4 or 5 game losing streak now, really just sets them up this week because they're now playing Croydon this week. We all know that's unfortunately it's a goal difference boost of that game. So yeah, big win for South because if they win that and some results go their way, they could effectively jump Western Strikers, close that gap.
Mark.
Yeah.
South Adelaide lost.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
They lost 2-1 to Jaguars.
Why is it in here as a win?
Let me.
On dribble or on the bottom thing?
In round 12, with round 12, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, South Adelaide 2, Jaguars 1.
Oh, this is awkward for everyone, isn't it? We'll go to commercial.
I'm looking at it now. South Adelaide 2, Jaguars
I'm looking at it now, yeah. Okay. No, you're right. I don't know what's happened there.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
ignore me.
So, yeah, because I noticed on the weekend, because I look at their results through their Insta and stuff like that, and keep an eye, obviously, with Benny Dale coaching. So, like I said, huge win for South to beat, like I said, Jaguars, who were in 4th. And I think for Jaguars, it's a bit of a dent with Grove losing. They could have gone into 3rd, and South has prevented them from doing that. So it makes it a little bit tougher for Jaguars getting into the top 3. So, like I said, huge result for South Adelaide. So congratulations, Benny, on that result. And hopefully, like I said, going into a game this weekend that they should win against Croydon, they can close that gap even further on the top 5.
Yeah, I guess the last 2 games that I have is the Cove and Strikers game, which is, I guess, a little bit closer than you'd expect with where Cove are in the league and Western Strikers are. Obviously, Fulham, unfortunately, joining Croydon at the bottom of the table where it's not looking too great for them at the moment with a heavy loss. But elsewhere in the league, it seems like at least Cove can contest with those teams that are fairly far away from them now. If you look at that table, everyone's at least got double or more of their points. But it seems like they've clawed back some results that make it a bit more tighter in the league. And hopefully they can continue that with the next few games.
Looking at the table, Campbelltown top with 36 points, a 6-point gap in front of Modbury Vista with Elizabeth Grove just behind, and then going towards the bottom, Croydon, of course, on -3 points with Fulham on 3 and then Cove on 7. And that sort of mid-table 3rd to 7th is all somewhat tight as we head towards the end of the season. On to State League 1. Again, 3 games were postponed, those being Adelaide Cobras versus Salisbury, West Adelaide versus Blue Eagles, and Victory versus Western Strikers. The games that were played, Cumberland won 3-0 against West Torrens Burkalla, Sturt 4-2 over Vipers FC, and Playford a 0-0 draw with Fulham. And we'll start with that one with you, Alessio.
Yeah, well, I watched most of the highlights of the Sturt versus Vipers game, and what a game it was, back and forth. I mean, Adelaide Vipers had the lead with an excellent Abdul Balamba goal. They got a penalty as well to make them 2-1 up as well. But Sturt just seemed to be able to fight back, get a couple somewhat scrappy goals in the end, and they finished it off. Excellent performance from the youngster, though, Sean Garrett, who was the right winger there for Sturt. I think he got a goal, an assist, and then he set up, or he started a move for one of the other goals. So he had a great game out there. But yeah, interesting as well to see some of the star performance of Vipers and what they're going to have to do next year if they want to solidify themselves or maybe push themselves even further with Dylan Centro and Abdul Balamba seem to be the ones hitting their straps at the moment. While Sturt, Brian Ellerwood getting back on the score sheet. Two very similar finishes as well. It seemed like no one could just pick him up there for a couple of the cutbacks that he got. And I think you look at the last Sortini goal as well. He got 2 bites at the cherry and just about got it in. So they all count. And yeah, back to form for Sturt, and hopefully they can keep pushing towards the top 6 at the moment and solidify themselves in there with that ever-changing league.
Who wants to go next?
Mark.
Okay.
David, which game did you want? Because I was happy to talk about the Playford Fulham game, actually.
No, you talking Playford Fulham, that's okay.
So, look, Playford, I said this about the NPL, and no team really wants to go out, and it seems like no team wants to grab it by the scruff of the neck and win the league. This is State League 1 starting to go the same way. Playford at home, I would expect them to beat a Fulham side. Normally, I can't remember what I picked last week, but at home they've been pretty good this year. But just one thing I have noticed is there's some games where they're never going to score. They just seem to be able to sort of switch off attackingly, maybe. Could be a good defensive play by the other team, but it just seems to be a little bit interesting that every so often they do struggle in front of goal, which is a little bit surprising with the likes of the players that they've got at their disposal in that front half of the pitch. Inconsistent. I mean, they're 34 points. I think the thing that's surprising is probably the fact that Bacala are now so close and Cumberland have jumped up the table as well. Blue Eagles, with their week off, dropped down to 4th. But I think Playford are probably still the likely front runners for the league, but I think they just need to maybe a little bit more consistency from them. I mean, they haven't lost in 5, but there's 3 draws in there, so a little bit more consistency, maybe get a couple of results, and they will probably end up taking the league away from everyone else. But Fulham, I think, probably not as good as what they wanted to be at the moment. Since 7th, Sturt have overtaken them in the league, so I think they're probably a little bit disappointed more so with that result than what Playford would be overall, because I think if Fulham get a result out of that, that'd be a really good win and push them into finals. So they had probably a lot more playing on it just for this week.
David, on to you for the final one.
Okay, so just quickly, a big win, obviously, for Cumberland United, who were 4th in the table before this game, and the win has taken them up to 3rd, albeit Blue Eagles didn't play, so they've got a game in hand, but putting it up to 3rd and just 2 points behind your opponent, Burculla. It's obviously been a massive match for them. Nathan Monroe scored 2 goals, both of which were first one there in the first half, and then I think his second one was about 10 minutes into the second half. And then Joshua Cool scored a goal towards the end for Cumberland to put it beyond Burculla's reach in any kind of way. But if you look at the league table again, you'll see that Cumberland are the form side in that league. And we talk about form sides. There was a period where Sturt went through a period where they weren't beaten in about 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 games at that point in time. They've kind of lost that form a little bit. They've been a bit inconsistent, but the form side just now are Cumberland. I mean, Salisbury have won 4 of their last 5 as well, but they haven't played as many. So you could argue that Cumberland's form is better. But yeah, Cumberland United, certainly the form side. And if they can get a little win next week, I think they play Salisbury. If they can get a win in that one, they're right up there in that. So they'll be aiming for top 2. Nothing further to add, Your Honour.
Just looking at that table, as you said, Playford top by 3 points. Bacala just following in behind, as well as Cumberland looking towards the bottom. Adelaide Victory on 10 points. Western Strikers on 15. And West Adelaide on 20, as well as Vipers and Cobras. It keeps looking ever more harder for Victory to get out of that bottom 2 spot now. They have got to at least get 11 points from these final few games. So I think they look to almost be going down into State League 2, unfortunately for them. On to the WMPL, Adelaide Uni, a 1-1 draw with Sturt Lions, a late goal, reducing that to a draw. West Adelaide 4-1 over West Torrens. Bacala Metro losing 3-0 to Football SA NTC. Then Adelaide Comets, a 3-0 win over Flinders United, and Adelaide City, a 0-0 draw with Salisbury Inter. David, Uni versus Sturt was a golden opportunity for Sturt to get 3 points on the board, but just lacking at the final moment.
Yeah, I'm always a wee bit more prepared when I've been on Johnny's local game show because I've made notes for that. So I don't feel quite far out my depth today. But yeah, so I'm quite chuffed with myself. So this is Uni versus Sturt. Yeah, so yeah, a 1-1 draw. Just got my notes here. It puts Uni up on 10 points, Sturt on 7. A big opportunity, obviously, for Sturt to get themselves. If they'd had a win there, I wouldn't have taken them up to second bottom, but it would have taken them to within a point of Uni. But I'm saying I'm well prepared now. I can't read my own handwriting. Yeah, so a 1-1 draw. Sophie Burke scored in the 84th minute to rescue a point for Uni. So Sturt would be disappointed to concede there right at the very end. It's a shame they couldn't quite hang on and get the win there. But yeah, it wasn't to be. Is that the only game we were talking about?
There was more games. West Adelaide winning 4-1 over West Torrens Burkalla. Burkalla scoring one early on in that one, but then West Adelaide just running riot, and Nicole Blackett with 2 goals for herself as well.
That's right, yeah. And I think they play, well, I know the top 2 play each other in a fortnight's time, West Adelaide and Comets. So that'll be an intriguing match when it comes around. But yeah, another win, obviously, for West Adelaide. It's becoming a bit of a routine for them. They have only had that one loss all year. Was that against Burkalla from memory? In the first time when they played each other the first time round, I think it might have been.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it might have been. And but this win gives them a 3-point buffer. But when first plays second in 2 weeks, West Adelaide and Adelaide Comets. That for me is the match of all of the rounds for all eternity, because that'll determine, I think, who will win the minor premiership. Do we call it the minor premiership when you win the league, or do we call it the flag, or what do we call that?
I think it's just the premiership.
Yeah, I guess it'd be the premiers, premiers and champions. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do get the 2 confused around, to be honest.
Yeah. When I was a boy, they had the league and the cup, and that was it. There was none of this qualifying final, preliminary final flags and premierships. It was just very easy to follow. But I think that game in a fortnight will decide who wins the premiership, but not the grand final.
Leslie and Mark, on to you two for the final few. NTC 3-0 over Metro. Comets 3-0 over Flinders United. Flinders, I think, just losing their magic. They had a great start to the season, but I think the more the season has gone on, they've just been lacking a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what I was going to jump on, Seb, is that I think they've just lost their magic that they had at the start of the year, where they were able to pull those results when needed, they pull those goals when needed, come late in the game. I think they're just starting to be found out a little bit. So let's say on that goal the better. Comets taking the early lead there, but I think they're just Flinders, for me, they've just lost that little spark, that little that never say die attitude that they had at the start that really did get them results. They're sitting 8th now, 4 losses from the last 5, which is never a good thing. But I just think that Sturt and Adelaide Uni not really performing as well as they would like, and it's probably saving Flinders at the moment. We know Flinders were in a battle last year for relegation, so I think they've got enough to stay out of it, but they do need to pick up a couple of results, and they might be able to pick those up in the next few weeks, depending on who they've got. But I think that the Magics just seem to have gone from them for the time being. So hopefully they can re-find it, and hopefully they can get some results.
Alessio, those final 2.
Yeah, was it Adelaide City was one of them?
Adelaide City.
Yeah.
0-0.
Yeah, I was speaking to some players from that team as well, and they just said that it seems like the mix of all the young players coming in for all the injured players at the moment just hasn't been clicking up front for them. They started off the season obviously quite well. They were undefeated for a period of time, but just at the moment they're struggling in front of the net. It went to show that 0-0 game as well against Salisbury Inter. But I guess you take a point more than anything. A clean sheet's not so bad at home as well. So besides that, I think what was the other game was
NTC 3-0 over Metro.
Yeah, it's just the young girls again providing in front of goals, and a 3-0 win. I mean, that's the perfect result for you to have at home in front of your fans as well, and it just goes to show that they're still going to push up that table now in TC and maybe even contest those top two. Obviously, quite a gap at the moment, it looks like, on that table. But I think they'll definitely try and compete into the finals series and have a wonder run like last year.
Looking at the table at the end of this week, West Adelaide and Comets both close on top, but Comets, I mean, even if they do get that win in a couple of weeks' time against West Adelaide, they'll still only be on equal points. They'll still need West Adelaide to drop something. Going towards the bottom, Sturt on 7 points, Uni on 10, and Flinders on 12. I think it's between those three for those for the relegation spots. And I don't think it's over yet for Sturt. I know, David, you said earlier on that you might have written them off, but I don't think it's over yet considering the past few weeks.
No, I think they've made a bit of a fool of me and have hit form just at the right time. I think I made that prediction when they just. I think I made that prediction before the 6-6 game when they played.
I want to say you probably said that like maybe a week or so before that 6-6.
Yeah, and maybe I have some input into their recent good form because I can only imagine those comments have just inspired them to make a change. So look, if they stay up, you're welcome.
On to the NPL, going towards that. Campbelltown drawing 2-2 with Adelaide City. Parry Hills Knights losing 3-1 to FK Beergrad. Adelaide Comets a 2-2 draw with Adelaide Croatia Raiders. Adelaide United also a 2-2 with Adelaide Olympic. Modbury Jets 3-3 there. Both teams with only 10 men in the end. And Croydon losing 3-2 to Metro Stars. A lot of interesting games having happened this week, gentlemen. Who wants to go first?
I didn't cover any games, so you boys go and I'll just pick up whatever's left.
I can talk about. Well, Seb, will we talk collectively about Para Hills Knights?
We can do.
Well, you and I were at Para Hills Knights on a very wet night.
Very wet.
At the Paddocks. It was. I mean, I think it. We were in doubts as to whether we should start or not, weren't we? Because, and primarily because of the equipment more than anything else, and a shaky ladder. I wasn't all that comfortable in that ladder either. But an entertaining enough game. That was a Greedo goal there. I think that was Falco. What am I talking about? Greedo's another team. Falco scored that second goal. Look, I'm not going to look at the pictures because I struggle when I'm watching the pictures. A great open game to watch. I think a Craig Shearer goal at the very end was the one that really clinched it. Para Hills Knights were pressing to try and get an equaliser, and then Shearer's popped up. Look at this little somersault he does. He's rehearsed this for weeks. Here he goes. Very good job, Craig, but I've seen better, to be honest. And a good win for Beergrad. I think they've had a little bit of mixed fortune over recent weeks. They'd only had 2 wins or maybe 1 in their previous 5 prior to that game, and they'd had 2 draws and a loss. So they were due a win, and unfortunately for Para Hills Knights, it was theirs to lose. And the result puts Para Hills Knights down the table a little bit as well. They're level in points with Adelaide United after that. They are 5 points clear of the second bottom side and therefore clear of relegation. But it would be a game I think they would have liked to have won just to give themselves a little bit more breathing space. The other game I can talk about is Croatia Raiders and Comets, because I was there on the Saturday afternoon. All credit to Croatia Raiders ground staff. They managed to clear the pitch of any excess water, and the game was allowed to go ahead. So again, it was a nice open game, a little bit of a game of sort of 2 halves. I felt Croatia Raiders through the first half were probably the better of the 2 sides. I thought Comets were probably a bit better in the second half. And this is the second half. This is a Labasso goal. That was a beauty, an absolute cracker. Solari didn't move at all. Wheeled over to the corner to celebrate. And then Comets got themselves another one from memory, which is just about to come up on the screen. Chip over there. Reece Thompson didn't quite clear. Popped up to Garrido. He had a shot that hit the post. And Croatia Raiders again didn't clear the lines, and Garrido had a second pop at it and scored with his second attempt. Garrido had come on as a substitute after about 28 minutes for Lucas Economopoulos, who'd had to leave the field injured. So came on and did a bit of magic to get the goal, and then Bradley Corbell popped up about 20 minutes to go to make it 2-2. And then I would say Reece Thompson, it's not in the footage here, but Reece Thompson had two chances to win it for Croatia Raiders. His first was a header which hit the bar, and his second one was a shot, probably quite close in, but maybe 3 or 4 yards out. But he put it over the bar, so he'll be kicking himself. Poor kid's probably lost sleep all week over it. But a good chance for Croatia Raiders to steal it at the end, but it wasn't to be, and it finished the draw. Probably a fair result, really, in retrospect.
I'll go next, just heading across the road from where you were, David, between Adelaide Olympic and Adelaide United, looking towards the game. It was a very, same as yours, David, a very open game. It was a lot better than their first fixture at Apex earlier on in the season. Harry Crawford with that early goal, a curling effort in the somersaults, which I didn't know he was capable of, but fair enough. Of course, this game is well played on the artificial pitch due to the weather as of late. There are a few protests from the Adelaide United players about whether or not this goal was offside or not, but none heeded in the end, and Olympic got that equaliser. Olympic looked good for most of the match. Neither side could really just get on top. Another back post one there from Marco Toriani, scoring quite a few from, I guess, defence, as he has done the past few weeks. This one laid on as well from Joey Garuccio. Harry Crawford, again, having another great game for the young Reds, and really just sort of keeping them afloat. And it was an important game for both of these sides as well, because these are two teams that are flirting with the prospect of relegation. So one of them probably would have loved to have the 3 points over the other. But that one just ending 2-2 in the end, but a very thoroughly entertaining game. Alessio, Mark,
arguably that was a bigger game. Sorry. I was just going to say that was arguably a bigger game for Olympic, really, wasn't it? Because they're 5 points adrift of safety. So it was arguably a more important game for them to win than United. But yeah, sorry to interrupt.
It was also good to see a couple of new signings for Adelaide Olympic. Some of them made the bench, some of them didn't come on in the end, but obviously they've taken a few from clubs in the State League as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if those are the players that can really propel them out of that relegation zone and maybe even push for top 6. But yeah, I was on the Friday night game, Campbelltown, Adelaide City. I was on the reverse fixture as well when it was at Adelaide City Park, and Campbelltown just ran right over them that day. In this one, though, it was Adelaide City all first half who created most of the chances, and seemed like they could just get every second ball. Larry Latanzio was probably unfortunate not to get a goal in the end in this game. He was everywhere pressing that back line of Campbelltown City. Bressan, who's popped up with quite a few goals. I'm pretty sure he's the top scorer of Adelaide City at the moment, about 7 or 8 goals.
So, yeah.
And then Booker, Steve Woodcock, as we all know, does what he does. Came off literally right after this goal with a sore hamstring, so he just had enough to run into the knee slide there with what was left of his hamstring. But had a few debuts as well, and a couple of other quite similar goals in his near post. I mean, all the Friday night games seem to be that right near post is where the keepers didn't like it. Mark, I don't know if that's something to do with the wet weather or not, but quite a few goals in that right side of near post. And then this one from Josh Murray, put in the danger area, and I think Arok could probably do a bit better with that clearance, especially on a slippery game like this. You just need to get a bit more on it than just a touch. But other than that, ended off 2-2. There probably wasn't too many chances in the game. It was a fair result in the end. But both teams, again, continuing their fine form, with both of them now, I think, undefeated in 6. A couple draws for both of them in between that time, but they both kept their undefeated streak alive, and both pushing towards that top 4 now, especially.
Question from me, Alessio, only because I'm very interested in him due to being a football manager legend for me in past games. How was Rafael Leai as he came onto the pitch on Friday?
Yeah, so I didn't expect how early he was going to come on. He literally came on for Booker after that goal. So Paul Pezos was obviously very interested to get him on quite early. It's probably one of the tougher games. We did say in commentary that when he was coming to Australia, I'm sure he didn't expect to be running in puddles and stuff. But he did throw a few tricks and had a really good run. I think not long after he came on, he took it past a few players, tried to cross it into the box, and Dakota Oshanem parried it out for a corner. But other than that, you can see he's got some technical ability there to run at players. But I think on a pitch and conditions like that, it's probably a bit hard for anybody. But it'll be interesting. It looks like he'll be playing as a winger, most likely. And they've obviously got some players out as well. We saw Matt Dorber there on the sidelines as well. And obviously Lara Tungio seems like he's undroppable at the moment in the form that he's in. And yeah, they've got a couple of other youngsters on the bench like Harry Thomas, who's itching at the bit to get a few more starts in the team. And yeah, that midfield just seems on carrying through. I mean, Yared Abichu has again had a fantastic game. I think with his last few games, he might even poll quite well in the Melton medal, in my opinion. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in the team now. Leai, sorry. He does have quite a good goals record, but it's quite a different step up in this NPL men's competition.
Mark, we'll finish off with you. I think only 2 games left. Modbury South Adelaide a 3-3 draw and Metro 3-2 over Croydon. Both very interesting results.
Which one have you got the highlights for first, Seb?
I've got you pick and I'll have them immediately.
All right, let's jump on the South game because that was played before the Metro game. So South and Modbury, obviously Modbury sitting near top of the table. They were top of the table going into this game. To be honest, Skimizzi doing what he does best at the moment. He scored 2 this game, and that's what he does. He breaks past the defence, and he's deadly in front of goal at the moment. But South, they've got this of late. They've got this form. They're a bit lucky here that you can't tell from the video footage if that went over the line, but the assistant referee certainly called that straight away and that it went over. So, but Souths have got this attitude at the moment of never giving up. And I'll say this again: Moss's distribution. He's waiting for that to bounce. He knew where Alex Rideout was going to be. The touch there from Alex takes him past the defender, which was a great touch, and then the calmness to beat the keeper. But Souths have got this attitude at the moment. They're not giving up. It doesn't matter who they're coming up against, and they've come up against the top side and taken a point. And to be honest, I mean, that's a bit unlucky there. For South, it's come off the post, falling straight to Skimizzi, who, again, he's not missing from those areas. He's just in some great form. And to be honest, this is it's in the goals of the week. It's just an absolute quality finish. I mean, he's rolled it.
It's a celebration.
Mate, to be honest, next time I see him, I'm going to ask him what's with the celebrations. But hey, if he keeps scoring goals, it doesn't matter what celebration. And this was the handball where goalkeeper got sent off. He handled it outside the area.
Was it handball or was it last man challenge? I thought he might have.
I got called. I heard it was handball, but I don't think he.
I think it's straight red for handball, would it? Is that straight red for handball?
It's last man, I guess.
For a goalkeeper to come to the box and preventing a goal scoring opportunity, and it's a handball. It's a sending off. So a bit unlucky there as Modbury had rested Newell getting ready for the cup. He was a bit tender, so they rested him for this game. So it's a little bit of a shame for Quach because he now doesn't get to sit on the bench in the cup. And Evans there, just a little clip on Henderson, second bookable. So it's just second yellow card, red card, off he goes. So, but it's funny, like I said, South's just not giving up at the moment here. They're down 3-2. With the man up, but they came back, managed to get that late goal from JJ Rideout, who he's going to be able to score goals for you. It doesn't matter where or when. He's always going to try and pop up with one at least, and eventually improvised finish, great finish to be honest. And like I said, South's just not giving up at the moment. I'll talk about what's coming up for them in our preview because obviously that's going to be quite a big one for them next week. And the remaining game, Metro and Croydon. Croydon, I think, went 2-0 up in this. Was it Croydon that went 2-0 up in this game? I think. Metro come back and sorry, Metro there. Chidadini. That's funny actually because when we were discussing goals of the week, Chidadini, I put Chidadini in there, but then I was like, well, if you put Chidadini, you got to put Prasan in because, to be honest, it was a carbon copy those two goals. There's the second yellow for Castaneda, who just after half time, so Metro did go down to 10 men, played most of that second half with 10 men, which they've done a few times this year, and they've done well with it, getting results still. Hamish Gow, for me, undroppable. What a player he is, putting Cam Woodford in, who's scoring goals from midfield of late, which is what
that was quite
Metro
a nice goal as well.
It was very well taken goal, great ball. And then Croydon with the fight back. Andre Carl, mate, I can't say enough good things about him this year. He's been fantastic for Croydon. He's sort of, I think he's picked them up and just dragged them along to get results and really just taken the goal scoring on his back and gone, let's go, it's with me, let's do this, lads. So another goal there for him. I think that puts him on 13, I think it is, just a couple behind Nagamatsu. And obviously Captain Klimek here just with a tidy finish. But like I said, Hamish Gow, to be honest, he's one of my favourite players in the league. He pops up with this goal at the end here, free kick. We've seen it time and time again, and I think we'll continue to see it as long as he's playing in the NPL. Free kick finishes, you don't want anyone else on the ball in those sorts of areas. And a great finish from Gow, which gave them the win and put them top by a point over Modbury. So I said that draw from Modbury is cost them a little bit, but I said no team's really. I think with the ladder now that we look at it, Metro 33, Modbury 32. There's a bit of a gap now there's 4 points between second and third and fourth. But I think for me, Comets and Campbelltown just drawing too many games. I mean, they've drawn 7 apiece and won 7. So if you're going to go on to win leagues, and that you can't be having the same amount of draws as wins. You've got to turn those draws into wins. For me, it's as simple as that. And as we look at the ladder there, we look at South down at the bottom. They're as I said earlier, I'll talk about it more in the preview. They've got a big week coming up. Olympic in 15th, Adelaide United 20 points. With 15 points, Adelaide United 20 points, Para Hills 20 points. So I don't think either of those two teams are actually safe yet. And you could even say that about Raiders at 21. So I don't think that Para Hills and Adelaide United are safe just yet. But that could have a bearing this weekend.
Yeah, just looking at that table, Metro on top, 33, Modbury close behind, 32, Comets 28, 26, Campbelltown and City towards the bottom, Souths on 11 points, Olympic on 15, and Adelaide United 20, equal with Para Hills, with Croatia and Croydon and Beograd just those points in behind. I was going to say there's a gap forming, but there's not really. There is and there isn't at the same time. It's so tight.
Yeah, it is such a tight league. And I said, FK Beograd 22 points, but Adelaide United, who are 10th and nowhere near, and what you would say nowhere near finals, in 10th position, are actually only 2 points behind Beograd, who are in finals position at the moment. So it is close. That from effectively from 6 down to United in 10th. I mean, it's 2 points. It's so close, so tight. And like I said, but even then, Para Hills and United still, I wouldn't consider them safe just yet. Like there's still a possibility that things could turn on them. So it's one of those things. But your sort of top 5, I think, are probably set now. I don't see much changing in the top 5. I mean, City, who are in great form, 26 points. I don't see. I said in what order, I'm not sure, but the top 5 for me seem to be set. That will be top 5. It's just a matter of what order for me.
Very, very interesting as we look ahead onto fixtures. Now, of course, only one men's game this weekend being the Federation Cup final. So we'll go through the Women's State League and the WMPL before finishing on the Cup final for our predictions. So starting with the WSL, Modbury Jets versus Cove. This is Modbury Jets for me in this one.
Agreed.
Yeah, ditto.
Adelaide Jaguars versus Fulham United. I'm going to go with Jags on this one for me.
I am also going to go with the Jaguars on that one. Yep.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with Jags losing last week to South, which I think was probably a little bit of an unexpected result for the Jags. I don't think they would have gone into that thinking they're going to lose. I just don't see Fulham able to turn their form around at the moment.
arguably, sorry, the women's game of the round, Campbelltown versus Modbury Vista. I think Campbelltown for me in this one still.
Yeah, I would say so as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Campbelltown, yes, it's 1 and 2, but Campbelltown play 12, 1-12. I just can't see them losing.
Yeah, it would be a foolish man, I think, foolish person, should I say, to back Modbury Vista. And you've got to be careful these days. It would be a foolish person, I think, to back Modbury Vista here. I wouldn't write them off though. They have a very good record, but and they've only lost 2 themselves. But I think Campbelltown are just a step above.
Western Strikers versus Elizabeth Grove at Western Strikers. I'm going to go Grove for me on this one.
Well, this is an interesting one, Seb, because Strikers have won their last 4. Grove have lost their last 2. Admittedly, the Grove have lost to the top 2 sides in those 2 losses, so they've had a bit of a tough run. But I could see, Western Strikers, they've beaten all the teams below them. The last 4 wins have all been the teams below them. I think I'll go Grove to get back into their winning ways. I'm trying to put up an argument for Western Strikers, but when you weigh up the pros and cons, I think I'll go the Grove.
I'm going to go Grove as well. Sorry, Alicia.
Yeah, no. After seeing Strikers struggle a little bit against Cove, I think I'll go with Elizabeth Grove against Strikers to win.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Grove as well.
Finally, Croydon versus South Adelaide. Of course, Croydon getting their goal last week, but I still think South Adelaide will be too strong for them once again.
Yeah, that's an easy one, I think.
On to the WMPL. 3 games on the Friday night. West Adelaide playing against Football SA NTC. West Adelaide for me on this one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with West Adelaide as well. I feel the only team that can maybe challenge them in the league is Comets at this point in time. So,
well, they hadn't actually beaten them until that Cup semi-final as well all season. It was the only time they beat Adelaide Comets was in that Cup semi-final. Every other game, including the preseason Cup, they hadn't actually won against them. Against
Comets?
Yeah.
So you're talking about West Adelaide and Comets?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was actually just looking at that before. Comets, this isn't the game. This is between West Adelaide and Comets, which isn't relevant to the game we're talking about. But I was just looking at that before. Comets won. They've won the last 3 encounters between the 2 of them, going back to March of last year. But I think West Adelaide. Hang on, I'm all confused now. We're talking about West Adelaide and NTC, right?
Yes.
Yeah. West Adelaide will win this one. Because I think Comets are the only team in the league that can challenge West Adelaide. Although Comets have won their last 3 encounters with West Adelaide, which is unrelated to NTC. I've got it now. West Adelaide to win.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go West Adelaide win as well. The form and the fact that they've got Quigley and Blackett scoring, and Nicole and Rachel Quigley scoring goals for fun at the moment. So I don't see anyone getting past them, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go with West Adelaide to win this one.
Next up, I think that's actually my game. I'm commentating these 2 ones. Salisbury Inter versus Adelaide University as well on the Friday night. This one's mixed for me. I think I'll go Inter.
I'm going to go a draw in this. Salisbury drew last week, and so did Uni, but I just think Salisbury are just struggling in front of goal. They've only scored 12 goals this season, so they've only scored a goal a game, whereas even Uni have scored 16. And I know a lot of those goals are now not there anymore. The player that was scoring them, she's moved on. She's on holiday at the moment, but I think Salisbury just struggling in front of goal, so I'm actually going to go draw.
Yeah, I think I'll go with a Salisbury into win on this one. I just think that if Adelaide University are going to miss Tanae Morris as well, I think that if she goes away on that camp, if we said next week, then maybe they'll miss her a bit. And I think Salisbury are going to get the win here.
I'm with you, Alessio. I think Salisbury are going to win this one as well. I think Uni went through a little purple patch when they had the person playing for them that you mentioned before, who's now not playing for them. Because she's not there, I think Uni will probably pick up points here and there, but it won't be this week. Salisbury Inter to win this one for me.
Next up, Flinders United versus Adelaide City. I think City for me on this one, but it would be maybe a 1-0, maybe 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go in Adelaide City as well, Seb. Flinders are just struggling to find their magic at the moment. Adelaide City they've only lost one game in the last 5, so I'm going to go with the City win.
I'm going to go for an upset.
Draw.
No, I'm going to go for a proper upset. I'm going to go for a Flinders win in this one. I think they're going through a bad period, but they'll turn it around at some point. And I think an Adelaide City is a kind of team that they could potentially be the game that they do turn it around on. I can't imagine that they're the favourites, Flinders, going into this, but I just think they'll turn it around at some point, and City's the kind of team that they can turn around it against. I saw City play a few weeks ago at Sturt, and for me, I think their league results, which are very inconsistent, 2 draws, 2 wins, 2 losses, I think in their last 6, indicates to me that they're a wee bit hard to pick anyway. So I'm going to go for a Flinders United win in this one, in a close game.
I think I'm going to go for a draw in this one as well. I think both teams are probably not the best in front of goals, but I think maybe neither of them are going to score enough to get 3 points themselves.
Burkalla versus Sturt Lions. Burkalla looked to be the goods early on in the season. They've just been falling off as of lately, but then you've got Sturt on the opposite end, started the season pretty poorly and now in decent form, to be fair to them. I'm not sure where to go with this one, to be honest.
I'm going to go Burkalla win.
No faith, says Mark Talbot.
Oh, it's not so much that. I just think that Burkalla will have enough to get over Sturt this weekend. So
I think I'll go for a draw.
I'm going to go for another upset. I'm going to go for a Sturt win in this one. So Sturt, if you include the cup, haven't lost the last 3. They've had 2 draws in the league and they've had that cup win. And when you look at Burkalla's recent results, they've had, they played at West Adelaide, which was obviously a difficult one for them. But prior to that, they lost 6-1 to Metro. They had a 2-0 loss before that against Adelaide City. So they're not really scoring freely in recent games. They're a hard team to pick as well, but Sturt have just hit a little bit of form. If Sturt can win this and Adelaide Uni lose their game, then they're level in points. They'll both be in 10 points at the bottom, and with 6 or 7 rounds to go, I think this is the game that Sturt will win to go level with Uni at the bottom of the table on their way to salvation. There you go. It's a Sturt win for me.
I think I'll go with a Burkalla win on this one. I think they might just do it at home.
Lastly, Metro versus Adelaide Comets. I think this is Comets for me, maybe a 2 or 3-0.
Yeah, I'm with you, Seb. Comets win for me. They're the second best team in the league at the present moment. There's a reason for that as well. They're a good side. I just think they have too much for Metro.
Yep, Comets win for me.
I agree. I think it's 2 ends of the table. I think Comets are going to do well.
Finally, for our predictions, the big game on Saturday. Forgot for a second there. Modbury versus Campbelltown, 2:30 p.m. kickoff at Service FM Stadium. I don't know how we really want to go about this. Do you want to go through the two teams, I guess, and then predict, or we just want to predict straight out?
Oh no, I was going to say you're going to talk about the fact you're on the game, Seb. You'll be calling the big final, I believe. Is that right? You got to talk about these things, mate. Come on.
You know, it's cool.
It's a GF,
very honoured to be a part of it, and honoured to do it with David alongside me as well.
And I'll yell at you.
No nice words then. Okay, cool. That's fine.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just. I appreciated that. Sorry, I was distracted because I was trying to find. Not that I'm a gambling man, but I was trying to find what the latest odds were on this, and it's not about cheating in any kind of tipping round or anything like that. But I was just curious. I actually have no idea which team would be the favourite into this. I assume Modbury by a little bit, but it's a cup final, so anything can happen, really, can't it?
I wouldn't say either team's favourite, to be honest. I'd say it's pretty open.
They would likely base it off league form, to be honest. So they would probably push Modbury to be slight favourites.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think Modbury would be slight favourites because I think that's what the bookies will do. But cup final, two big teams. What are we doing? Are we doing predictions right now, or what are we doing? What's the plan, Seb? As chair?
No. Let's talk about Modbury first going into this. Their form, what they've been like.
Well, they're coming off the back of a 3-3 draw against the bottom side in the league. So, and they're not top just now, I don't think, are they? They're second, aren't they?
Yes,
they are second.
Yeah, I'm getting the table in front of me. Yeah, so I guess their form's a bit inconsistent, but so is Campbelltown's as well. I mean, Campbelltown have had one win in the last 5, but Modbury have only had 2 in the last 5. Their form, both teams' form coming into this is a bit inconsistent. Modbury will maybe be reeling after having dropped points against South Adelaide. They probably weren't expecting that, and Maurice Natal will be eager to put that behind them and try and make things better for a final. Anyone else want to talk about Modbury? Or do you want me to talk about Campbelltown?
No. Well, quickly, I'll go through their run to the cup final. Started out with a 4-0 win over Seaford Rangers in the first round. Then they had to beat Adelaide Victory 2-1 of the State League, a 4-0 over Croydon, and then 1-0 over Adelaide Olympic at Service FM to get them to this stage. So not a relatively easy or a hard, I guess, having to face 2 MPL sides, 2 State League sides, one of State League 1, one of State League 2. Not too bad of a run to get to the final.
Yeah,
look, it's a pretty standard run-in, to be honest, into the final, you would say. I haven't seen Campbelltown's run-in, but you can go into that one. But look, I have my thoughts on the game as a whole. I personally think Campbelltown needs to score first. I think the way that Campbelltown have been playing lately, their setup is very pragmatic. And I hate to say that because I do like Matriciani. I like the way he coaches. I actually rate Matriciani very highly as a coach. And I'm not saying I don't rate Maurice Natali. I think he's brilliant, to be honest. What he's done with the Modbury side since he's taken over has been nothing short of fantastic. But Campbelltown seem to be a little bit slower moving the ball until late in the game when they're under the pressure to score. So I think if they're going to play their game plan, if they score early, from a neutral perspective, we'll see more of a game. I think if Campbelltown score first, because we know Modbury's out to attack. That's the way Modbury play. They do so every week. I mean, they've scored 42 goals in the league for a reason. They've got some great finishers in Scamizzi and McCabe. And then obviously you've got the likes of Francesca, the club captain, who doesn't miss penalties. Touch wood. I don't.
That's going to come back to bite when it goes to penalties.
And he also scores some absolute belters from distance. So for me, I think if Campbelltown score, from a neutral point of view, I think if Campbelltown score first, the game will be quite open. It'll be quite an exciting game. They will sit in a little bit, but it will allow Modbury to attack more and try and draw Campbelltown out. If Modbury score first, I just see Campbelltown. It won't be too late in the game that they then come out of their shell to try and win the game. And that's just me from just what I've seen from the two teams over the course of the year. That's just the way I see it. So, but from a neutral point of view, I said I hope Campbelltown score early and will allow Modbury just to lay down their gauntlet and attack a lot more than what I think if they scored first, yes, they'll still attack, but I think they'll be a little bit more cautious. Whereas Campbelltown will wait quite late to attack if they are losing the game. As we've seen, they keep coming back to these games.
Just looking at Campbelltown's run to the final, a 2-0 win against Western Strikers in the first round. They then had to beat Adelaide Blue Eagles 3-1 in that second round, 2-1 over Cumberland, 2-0 over Adelaide Comets. Again, a relatively simple lead up to the final. Nothing too crazy, nothing too hard, probably compared to some other teams, the way they had to make it.
I wouldn't say simple. No game in the cup is simple because everyone in the cup, it's on their day. Anyone can beat anyone in the cup. That's the joys of it. It's one game. It's not a league where they've got to be consistent. So it's never easy. And they've beat. I mean, look at it. Cumberland, they're sitting third in State League One. Blue Eagles are sitting fourth in State League One. So they're not easy games. Comets are sitting third in the league in NPL. So it hasn't been an easy run. I'd actually say they've had a tougher run than what Modbury have had, to be honest.
To be fair, looking at it, with that Campbelltown-Cumberland game, Josh Murray scored 6 minutes in, Harley Jepp 61st, and it took Mark Marino to the 94th minute to get the winner to prevent from going extra time as well.
I think Campbelltown have probably had a tougher run than what Modbury have.
Lesio, on to you finally for your overall thoughts before we go into predictions.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a massive occasion. Obviously, both teams last year had not so positive results there at Service FM. Obviously, Campbelltown in that cup game and Modbury Jets in the finals series game. So I think both of them, by the end of the day, at least one of them is going to have some redemption there at Service FM. But I think it's going to, from a couple of the predictions, it looks like a lot of people think it's going to go to extra time. So I think we're going to be in for a sort of a long day, but that's why it starts a bit earlier. And I don't think there's any rescheduled games on that day either. So hopefully there'll be a big crowd there. And yeah, I reckon it's going to be a massive game. Both teams trying to get some silverware for the first time in a long time.
Just going to say, I remember last year, the Federation Cup final game, the under-18, the reserves, and the seniors, I think all went to extra time, one of them going to penalties, making it an even extra long day for all of us who were involved in there throughout the day. So hopefully we'll try and prevent from that happening once again. But I guess we'll go into our predictions. Modbury Jets versus Campbelltown City. Alessio is first.
I'm going to go a 3-2 Campbelltown win in extra time.
Okay. Mark.
Oh, wow. I'm going to go a 2-2 draw after extra time, and it's going to go to penalties.
Oh.
And then I'm going to go with a Modbury win on penalties.
I will go with a Modbury win in normal time, 2-1.
Me? Yep.
Yes, you're the only one left.
Well, it's interesting that we're all going for a big scoring outcome, because they did play each other in round 11, and that just finished 1-0 with a Jake Halliday goal in the 12th minute. And from memory, it was quite a dull game. I don't remember that. I have a very vague memory that it was quite a dull match. So having said that, I don't think this will be the same. I think there will be goals in this. If there's an early goal, like Mark was saying earlier on, if there's an early goal for either team, I'm anticipating quite a high-scoring match. And I would go for I think the longer the game goes, the less likely, and no one scores. Okay, I'm thinking out loud here, and it's not healthy. I'm going to go for a high-scoring game, 2-2 after 90 minutes, and then Campbelltown to win 3-2 in extra time, not penalties. But that'll all be dependent on whether there's an early goal or not.
So that's a Modbury, Campbelltown.
Yeah.
Very,
And
very
who picked
interesting.
penalties? Someone picked penalties?
Mark?
That was
Mark.
me.
Yeah,
And someone,
the Jesse Francesco comment he doesn't want it to bite him.
so one person's picked penalties. The other two have picked, or
Extra
the
time.
rest of us all picked extra time.
I picked normal time.
Yeah,
You picked normal time, and Alicia and I have gone for extra time.
Did you go extra time? Yeah. Wow.
Very, very much looking.
So maybe we
forward.
could have a point system where it says, right, if you get the right score, then you get so many
That's-
points.
yeah, that-
If it-
Easel,
Yeah.
That's all we
already
do.
done
Yeah.
that.
So
okay.
it's, if you get the right winner, that's 1 point. If you get the right score line, that's an extra 3 point, extra 2 points.
It goes to 3 points.
And then if you get the correct
Duration.
this distance of the game, yeah, then it's another point. So you can get 4 points max.
Can we pick first goal scorer?
I think you can on sports bet, but
I'm not a betting man. I wouldn't know.
Well, that's all the predictions done, and because I guess there was a few less games to do, we thought we'd change it up for 1 week and we do a quiz.
Oh, supposed to clap. Yay!
Yeah, it's supposed to clap. See, look, and we'll play the intro again. Ready?
I just hit top bins, 1-2 touch, yeah, we're locked in. I got the skills to make the girls sing, and the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.
Hold on.
I like the new intro music.
Hold on.
He's just filling in some time while Seb goes and gets himself ready. He comes back on. Oh, he's got Quizmaster gear on.
The front. That's okay. I put it the wrong way around. Okay. All right. We just do this up a bit. This is my celebration of football outfit. Hope you're not laughing. We'll do this up a bit. Anyway, okay. So we've got some. This is a bit too small for me these days. So we've got questions to answer. 5 normal questions, and then 3 who am I's. I'll keep track of
Is that
how many
name our
points each
buzzer,
people
by the way, Seb?
yes, your name is your buzzer. So make sure you're not muted. Otherwise, I won't hear you. So,
I think I'm
yes.
aimed at you, David.
All right. So, just to, I guess, sort of end it off for a bit of fun. First question. These are all local football related. Question 1. Some of them do have hints, and I'll tell you if it has hint. This one does have a hint. Who won the 2018 Rising Star Award for the men's NPL in South Australia?
Alessio,
Yes.
Hamish Gow.
Oh, I just realized I didn't even play the music. Sorry. Hang on. Hang
Oh,
on.
you've even prepared from you.
Yeah.
Ah. And no cheating, David.
Hey,
No cheating, David.
urgent typing.
Oh, I wasn't. I was checking my emails.
Right, so
You haven't lost
2018
interest.
Rising-
You haven't lost interest.
NPL
in
Rising Star.
Can you give us a clue? Like a team?
Right.
Is he currently playing in? Is he currently playing in the
I have
NPL?
a clue. I have a clue for you, which will help. But Alessio, you can't answer again because you already guessed. The hint is he is now playing in Poland.
Oh, it's Coco. Talbot. Coco.
No.
I know who it is now. That's so annoying.
David to steal.
Hey Alessio, could you message me?
Don't give him any more hints, Seb.
Now, if you give me an answer, and I'll give one more easier hint, and then whoever answers first will get the point.
Alessio
Answer
already
correctly.
knows.
Can I just
So
can I buzz?
basically-
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
As soon
no,
as
no.
David's
We give it the
I'll
next
back in.
clue.
Yeah, but if he knows, then it's fine. Come on, David.
I know there is someone playing there, but I cannot think of the name. But as soon as I hear it, I'll kick myself.
Do you pass?
How long have we got? Have I got a couple of hours to think about this?
No.
I might have to pass. I'll know it as soon as I hear it.
Okay, he's passed. First one to buzz.
Alessio.
Yes.
Louis Dorigo.
It is Louis Dorigo.
Well done, Alessio.
Okay. This is great. I'm loving this. This is great. All right.
I
Question
thought that had
2.
been like too late, but for him to get a rising star, I thought was in the A
Well,
League.
he's,
Like
only,
maybe
he's only how old now?
22.
22, 23.
So what? That's 6 years ago.
So it would only have been 16, maybe 17.
Yeah.
Okay.
Question 2. Last year, Sturt Lions secured promotion to the WMPL on the final day. But who did they have to battle against and play on the final day for top spot?
Talbot
Yes.
South.
No.
Alessio.
Yes.
Vista.
Yes, it was Aubrey Vista. Well done. Okay.
I was thinking, yeah.
All right. Question 3. Now, this one is whoever's closest wins. Okay. So, in season 2023, in the regular season, how many goals were scored?
In all,
So this one
in
all 5
how many
jerseys?
leagues?
in the men's MPLSA regular season last year, how many goals were scored? This one isn't a buzzer. You just give me your answers, and whoever's closest wins.
I'll say. How many rounds are 20? You're not including finals. It's just the league season.
Regular season.
Regular.
Okay, so 22 games, 22 rounds. There's at least 3 or 4 on average in each game. There must have been.
David, I'm just going to say it now. I think you're overthinking it.
Okay, I'll say. 342.
So your guess is 342. Mark or
Can we
Alessio?
go over or can we go over it if we're still closest?
Yeah,
Or do we
whoever's
need
whoever's
to-
closest,
okay,
over or under.
okay.
Whoever's
It's going to be
closest.
more, I think, Mark. Yeah. Now that I'm not overthinking it, I think I've underthought it, and I think I've got too few.
I'm going to go with 620.
620. Alessio.
I'm gonna go with 500.
On the dot?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So the
Don't
number,
wake up
how many
We're
goals?
going to be waiting a while.
No, I got this. One of you is pretty very off. One of you is close, and one of you is also close. So the one that was very off was Mark with 620. The actual number of goals scored was 455.
Oh,
So that
Oh,
means
what-
Alessio.
Alessio, in an unassailable lead, mate. That's it. He's won it.
Yeah, I thought it would be around like 480 because I would expect each team to score about 40 goals, 40 times 12. So
It was. I think I looked at it. It was like 3 something goals per game.
I just did how much I would score in a season more. Like
Yeah.
if I look at
I
their
was
goal
looking-
difference, like
I was
40.
working off roughly 50 odd goals for the top few sides, and then 40 off the next few sides, and so forth.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 4. This one has 2 answers, so a point for each. And whoever. But this is a buzzer. All right. In 2021, SA received 2 representatives in the FFA Cup, now Australia Cup. For a point each, name them.
Alessio,
Oh, he's back again.
2021.
2021. Or is he going to time out?
Campbelltown City.
You got one more guess.
2021. Oh, Adelaide.
That's about.
Yep. Okay, so Alessio's got one. There's one more, David and Mark. Whoever
I
buzzes
was going to
first.
go for Olympic.
So Olympic was one. Who was the other?
Adelaide City?
Oh,
Yes, it was
Oh,
David.
yeah.
They played against
Yeah.
Melbourne Victory at Marden that year.
1-0 loss, yeah. Last minute.
Late on. All right, next question. This one's the final regular question. It's a two-parter as well, but I'll ask each question one at a time. Who are the oldest club in South Australia?
Talbot,
Alessio.
Oh, it was Mark.
Port Pirates.
Yeah.
It
See,
was.
I dispute that.
Is there a
Okay,
second?
okay.
Two-part.
All right. It is a two-parter. I'll ask you the part next, but David wants to dispute.
I want to dispute because Port Adelaide went through a merger or an amalgamation with USC Lion, as recently as 1993. Therefore, the entity that exists today didn't exist in 1903, and I therefore wish to appeal that because I think Port Adelaide probably have only existed since 1993.
David,
What?
I'm just going to ask the next question, and you might not have wanted to say some of that information. What year were they founded?
1903.
Oh,
Talbot. I already knew that anyway. I used to play
Yeah,
football.
okay.
I
I want
know.
to dispute that.
Lines up.
I want to dispute that. They were founded. I want to dispute that because they were founded in 1993 when they merged. You go through a merger and amalgamation, then you're not the original identity. So they were formed in '93.
Try taking that up with them.
Yeah, I know.
Does that mean Mount Barker are older than Port Adelaide Pirates then?
All right.
Back
So
to our
before
shows,
we,
I think it's 1982. So
oh, there you go, David. See.
Can Alessio
Right.
lose?
So that was the first part of the quiz. Now we're into the Who Am I? Current score: Alessio 4, Mark 2, and David 1. But there's big points on offer in this round. So this is a Who Am I? All right. So 5 questions. They're either obviously someone or something to do with local football, male or female. 5 questions. First question, there'll be 5 questions. First question will give you 5 points. Last question will be the easiest, therefore only 1 point. So, first one. Who am I? And this is a buzzer as well. Okay.
oh,
I have played my the noise. There was no music. I have played my football in 3 countries: New Zealand, Australia, and China. If nobody answers, then I'll move on to the 4-point question.
What happens if we answer and it's incorrect?
We move on to the next question.
So we're still in it.
Yeah.
Australia and China.
Shane Smelts.
Local football, David. When did
Oh.
Shane Smelts play here?
Didn't he play for Adelaide United? That's pretty local.
Did he?
play
I
for Adelaide
guess.
United.
I guess.
He did.
They're more MPL focused, I should have said.
Okay. Talbot.
Yes.
Pellegrino? Adriano Pellegrino?
No.
Oh wow! I had one that I would. It won't be my. Oh, so I can just answer now. It doesn't make a difference, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say that Keegan Smith for Sturt, but I don't think he played in China.
No. So to the 4-point question. I was equal 3rd top goal scorer at a FIFA Club World Cup alongside Nemanja Vidic and Cristiano Ronaldo.
This is the same guy.
Same guy.
FIFA Club World Cup. I can't
the
be.
clogs are
I just can't.
Alessio's
just can't
turning the
see it.
clogs.
Someone played in New Zealand, and he plays in the local league now.
Is he still an active player now?
That's
It's
not.
not. We can't answer those. He's not going to give us those.
I'm going to
hints.
give you the questions that I've given you, mate.
Okay.
China.
No
How
guesses.
many goals?
I'm not going to say.
Hang on. So Australia, New Zealand, China, and he's 3rd top goals. He was the 3rd top goal scorer in a Club World Cup.
Equal.
Equal 3rd in a Club.
I
World
can just
Cup.
answer now, and no, Daniel
We could
Mullen.
all-
Pardon, Alessio?
Daniel Mullen.
Oh,
It was Daniel Mullen. It was
well
Daniel
done.
Mullen.
There's no way he scored. Had 2 goals or 1 goal?
1 goal. But
I
so
was
did
getting
Nemanja Vidic and Cristiano Ronaldo, and so did Travis Dodd and Cristiano of Adelaide United.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
Fabian Barbieri, but I just couldn't imagine he played in New Zealand.
He
So
played
that
for the
has to
Wellington
be-
Phoenix.
Mullen did, yeah.
Played for the Wellington Phoenix, of course, played in Australia, and played for Dalian Airbin in China. The
Yeah.
other questions
Extinct
were
club now.
he was a part of the Adelaide United side that made it to the Champions League final. He'll be playing on Saturday, and he has a famous surname, which would have been the last one, which probably would have made it pretty easy. But yes, it was Daniel Mullen. Well done, Alessio. See, this is fun, guys. Isn't this good?
Next one,
This is
I
good.
think
next one.
wait, just
Come
stay
on.
there. I think I'm pretty sure I have a Dalian Airbin kit or Dalian Yifang. I can't remember.
That's
which
so
one's which.
random.
Because let me just check which one it is. Dalian. Maybe it's the new one. No, maybe it is. I'll get it after we finish. But yeah, it's because one of my good friends from school, that's his local town, and he gave me his kit before he moved into state.
That's cool. That's actually pretty cool.
All right,
Alright.
next question. Keep going. Is that 3
Question.
points?
That was 4 points. That was the 4-point question. All right. Question 2 for Who Am I? I scored a goal of the year winner in my league back in the 2011-12 season.
League.
I'm not going to say what league either. In hers or his league.
Interesting. You put that in there.
Pardon?
Rachel Quigley.
It was. It was.
Didn't
The
you
other
say
ones.
I'm not gonna say her or his league. I was like, I had to be.
Yeah.
Other ones were I've played in South Korea, Australia, and the United States. I was scouted by one of my overseas teams after they'd seen clips of me on YouTube. My former club, Kansas City Shock, no longer exists, and I was once all-time leading goal scorer for Adelaide United and have only somewhat recently been overtaken. So yes, it was Rachel Quigley. David, I think you can do some.
Yeah, how many Who Am I got?
One more.
Okay.
Are you disappointed there's no more?
Yeah, I am, mate. It's been fun.
They're good. They're so good. All right, last one. Who am I? I have played in 6 countries. One of those leagues being the Eredivisie.
Talbot. Michael Jakobsen.
Yes, it was. The other ones were I've scored a goal against Manchester United in the UEFA Champions League. I've won 5 trophies, 3 of those being a domestic cup competition. I was an international for my country, and I've played for 2 MPLSA clubs.
Very good.
Those are all the
Very good, sir.
Final points. Do you want to hear it?
Come on.
In
Not
last
really.
in last place with a whopping 1 point. What was even the right one? I forgot what was the
Adelaide
one.
City.
Oh,
Adelaide
it was
in the
yes.
Australia Cup.
Yeah, but
David
I've still,
with
I've
1
still
point.
got I've still got an appeal pending in that Port Adelaide question.
And then it was between Mark and Alessio. The final points were. I need to count them now.
Do you want to calculate?
Think Mark-
Right.
Hang on.
It's either a draw or Mark won, I reckon. Because you got
So the
2
final
left.
points tally. It was separated by 4 points. The winner was
Yeah, let's hear it then.
Mark.
Because you got the last few were like 5 pointers.
Yeah, then
Yep.
10 and
You got-
2 points for
You
that.
got Rachel Quigley and Michael Jakobsen in the first. They're both 5-point questions.
Thank you, sir. I enjoyed that. It was good fun.
Anyway, I'll take off this suit jacket because it's way too small for me these days. And I've put the shirt on backwards anyway, so I've got Phil Foden on the front.
You did, yes.
Um,
That was nice.
Yes. The tie.
Maybe we should do that
so-
every week, and we should have a different quiz master with questions.
That's a good one, actually. Yeah, that's a good idea. I do like that. Yeah. I guess before we go, anything else anyone wants to talk about?
I'll jump on the usual. But Alessio, have you got you got our tipping results lately, or what are we doing there?
Well, because there's a few postponed games,
We haven't
And then
jumped it.
the
That's all
post-
good.
but also there's a postponed game tomorrow and Friday and Sunday, and I think some of them are from even previous week's ones. So I think by Sunday we'll just get all of those ones plus the cup final one and put them all into one.
Sounds good. The usual from me is TJ Gloves, TJ Goalkeeping Australia. Shout out to Tassie and the boys there for sponsoring our Goalkeeper of the Year award. We will have a prize at the end of the season for what we pick as our Goalkeeper of the Year. So if you need any goalkeeping gloves or anything goalkeeper related, please reach out to TJ Goalkeeping Australia or myself, and I can point you in the right direction. Otherwise, thank you to TJ Goalkeeping Australia and Tassie there doing a great job, and he's actually sponsoring a few clubs as well now, so it's great to see.
Absolutely. Anything? Oh, I've put the shirt on backwards again.
Oh,
Anyone else
they
want
put
to?
that- you put
Anyone
that
else
one
with anything else before we end off? Something so I can at least look presentable with my shirt the right way around before we leave.
No, I don't have anything more to add. Thanks for the quiz. Thoroughly enjoyed the first minute of it until it all went pear-shaped for me. Yeah, good. It was a nice little change, that. Are you still want me to fill in some time, Seb, while you're doing
No, I
something?
got back in time. All good.
Okay, good. Okay, cool.
After tonight, thank you so much for watching and listening wherever you are. I hope you enjoyed it. Cannot wait for the cup final this weekend. Thank you, Alessio. Thank you, David. Thank you, Mark. And I guess we'll see you all next week.
I just hit top bins. 1-2 touch, yeah, we're locked in. I got the skills to make the girls sing, and the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.